And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Tuesday, April 15th. Tax day, everybody. Get them in. But you know what's more exciting than tax day? First day of the play-in tournament. Atlanta and Orlando, Memphis and Golden State. We've got real basketball back finally for the first time in what feels like months. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. That's Eric Lindquist, by the way. Say hi to him. Eric, what's good?
What's good? The basketball we're going to watch today relative to what we've watched for the last 3 weeks. I think that's probably the main thing. I mean, we've had a couple of Western Conference games that have mattered as we got to the end of it, but it's not even do or die today, but it feels like it to some extent for like what does Memphis do here in the post Jenkins era? What does Denver do here coming up later in the week? I'm excited to see that Clippers series, and starting right off the bat, we're getting a Q tag that's starting our playoffs a little bit in a cluster F, but such is life. Didn't expect it to be easy, so ready to rock.
Yeah, we do have some things up in the air for today, and we'll touch on those as we go. We're going to have plenty of time to work our way through this. We're only likely to get news on Atlanta and Orlando. I mean, hell, we already got Orlando. We just kind of have to break this one down. So if it's cool with you, we take a quick look through each team. We move on about our business. We make our winning lineups. We take a look at the Hawks, who are very interesting today because they're super balanced. 35% ownership to Trae Young, 35% ownership to Dyson Daniels, 30% ownership to Karis LeVert. Then you get this next pack of guys of Reese Eshe, Mo Gay, Onyeka Okongwu, all in like the low 20s. Then you get Terrence Mann and George Niang around 15. Do you have a guy that immediately stands out to you for the Hawks?
Yeah, I would say that would be a Okongwu for me. I've been an Okongwu guy for like a month, it feels like, in the post Capella, not even in the backup five era. His minutes just have such a ridiculous place to go. Like, we could see him legitimately play 40, 42 minutes in a spot like this against an Orlando front court that he's actually had some successful games against. Obviously, the pace is down. It's still around a 220 total. So obviously Orlando, more pace up for them, less so here for Atlanta, about as slow and difficult of a pace spot as it gets. But still, Okongwu is so useful. We've got him in for 36 minutes. And I think that there's room for that to grow because you don't have really anybody else in that front court that they want to go to. Like Barlow, you could basically remove from the rotation. We could get Mo Gay, who ends up playing the backup five. And I know a lot of people I'm seeing in the chat are already mad at me about the nuke of the night. I still crush that slate, so I really don't even care. But he only played like one. What was that?
I got my nuke of the night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your nuke of the night was absolute nuke beyond nuke of the night. So that was useful. Jamal Cain, I believe it was. And
yes, it was.
Yeah, he was awfully good that day. But still crushed single entry, still like 4x'd everything there. But I think Mo Gay, like, if he didn't play beyond that first rotation, like I think he's going to end up being like your backup five in a lot of ways. Like he's probably going to end up playing 6-8 minutes, maybe in that capacity. And that's going to be where Okongwu was off the floor. But otherwise, like there's 40-minute upside for Okongwu. And we saw that a couple of times coming down the stretch. I really like him relative to the field.
I just pasted my Sims into my sheet right now. Now I'm grabbing whatever the hell my top 150 lineups are. We're going to take a look at those. That way I can tell you what I do and do not like. Because I broke it down on the strategy show this morning. Like, not from a DFS perspective, from a matchup perspective. And I'm hoping that I can tailor my lineups a little bit to the things that we noticed from like a, these guys are good against the pick and roll, these guys aren't type thing. So I'm jamming Trae Young right now. I hate it. That's the exact opposite of what I wanted this to be. I wasn't a huge fan, nervous about him in isolation today. Don't love it. So got a bunch of Trae with the field on Dyson Daniels, just slightly over on Okongwu, but I do like him. I think I think the 36 minutes that we have him in for, I could see 40. Like that upside is there. That makes me feel good. I do have a lot of Mo Gay, which makes me think that I'm probably also paying up for Paolo Banchero, just because he's the most expensive guy on the slate. If you're paying down to 3,200, you're probably paying up for more things. Neutral to LeVert, light on Risashe, light on Man. I kind of like Niang as the sneak guy here for Atlanta today. You get a little bit more size-ish. You get a little bit more of the floor spacing. If you're just trying to outscore Orlando, does he become the guy? It's an interesting push-pull for the Hawks today.
Yeah, he's ramped up in terms of usage in some spots, but like what's really spotty and hard about Atlanta is that last game was pretty meaningless, 14 shot attempts in like 17 minutes for him. And then it was just kind of like all over the place. You kind of know what you're getting with George Niang. And one thing we're going to have different from the playoffs as opposed to everything else, value is like projected for around 15, 16 fantasy points as opposed to value being 30 fantasy point 3K guys that we've had for a month consecutive. Actually, it's felt like longer at times, but George Niang, a guy who's projected right around 15 fantasy points and yet has quite a bit of usefulness on this slate. I mean, for me, it's just a way of like trimming some of the ownership off of the Moge piece because I mean, Moge gets first crack at it. George Niang comes off the bench and like if you skew your lineups towards George Niang, I think that's one thing, but I do think Golden State ends up pulling more of like my cheap 3K guys that I want to take shots on and some dice rolls on. I think there's just more ways that game has some interesting value pieces that aren't really necessarily being captured at the moment. So I'm kind of with you where I'm playing a little bit more of the Moge side. I'm getting to a little bit of, 3,200 George Niang, but I'm not necessarily like, are you playing the two of them together in quite a few lineups or not?
Niang and Moge?
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think that they're negatively correlated to some extent, right?
To a degree. The ownership on Niang is low enough on a day like today with only 2 games that I don't matter too much. I wouldn't want an overwhelming amount of it, but I'm going to find out right now and we'll find out a little bit easier.
I mean, they're both cheap too. They're both 3,200, and just because they're at the same tag doesn't mean you have to play one or the other, but it's more of just like, I think if George Niang is knocking down shots, it's probably going to be to the detriment of the minutes of Moge and vice versa, where George Niang's not knocking down shots. You just roll Moge out there a little bit more, but
I had 3 lineups with both of them out of 150. So yeah, insignificant.
Insignificant number. Like that's the thing is like, it's probably naturally not going to happen a lot as is, but I would actively try to not have those two together. If I'm building by hand, like a lot of people are playing one lineup or 20 max or something of that nature. I'm playing 40 lineups today. I'm probably going to be right somewhere in line with the field with Moge. And then I might be a little bit under on George Niang when it's all said and done. But again, that's just because of what I like on the Golden State side for potential value.
Okay. I'm surprised I have as much Trey as I have. We haven't really changed much of anything here either. Like it's a similar minutes projection to where I was earlier. And he ranked well earlier today. I didn't have a bigger stand there. Nervous about the Orlando matchup. Nervous about him getting to the rim. If he gets to the rim at all, they don't foul a ton. That's more Trae Young. He's going to be trying to get to the line a bit. But it's only 2 games. Raw points matter. And he could just shoot the shit out of the ball. And that could be there. Dyson Daniels is one of those interesting guys where he looks a lot better on FanDuel from a projection standpoint. Scoring system just fits him more. 35% owned on the DK side, 43% owned on FanDuel. He's in the top 10 of our boom bust tool, both sites. You're just going to be getting to a bunch of Dyson Daniels. He's just going to be out there now. He's well established in his playing time. But I think the playing time for Risashe, Man, Niang, Krejci, like one of those dudes is going to play 5 minutes more than we expected, and one is going to play 5 minutes less than we expected. And if you can get that guy right, I think it's going to be really important.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. And then the other thing that's really important is Trae Young relative to our other 2 point guards that we've got on this slate. Paulo Banchero is living on an island of his own because if you ramp up his minutes and he's got the highest points projection in the prop industry, in the prop market, 29.5. You look at pretty much everything across the board for him. He looks awesome. But like Trae Young in terms of ownership relative to Curry and Morant, they're in the same game environment, 228 total that I think is actually a little bit low. I'm on the over there of that game, which is rare for me. I've just been jamming Memphis unders to my detriment all season long. Go me. But how do you feel about Trae Young compared to like Curry and Morant? Because like right now he's pulling more ownership than those two. And I don't know. It feels appropriate at the moment. He's the highest projected of the three, and I don't know. I'm just kind of having a tough time figuring out how I want to slice those three specifically.
So right now I am quite a bit over on Trey, quite a bit under on Steph and Ja. I don't mind being under on Ja. I do want to have more of Steph. I would rather be like neutral on Steph and Trey than have the big Trey stand. Although, yeah, well, I mean, part of it is Memphis gives up threes. And I think Steph's just going to be letting that shit rain for 38 minutes. So I'm kind of intrigued. Lots of possessions in that one, too, for the Golden State
Yeah.
side. But
5.5 threes is his freaking line today.
yeah, I mean, that's bonkers. That's bonkers. So yeah, right now I've got more Trey if we're talking about pay up point guards.
Okay. Just
He's
thought it was
my
interesting. Yeah.
fourth biggest pay up like over the field.
Okay.
The other guys that I'm way over the field on, just to make this easier: Paolo Banchero, Draymond Green, Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, I'm in 40 lineups. I'm just jamming Paulo Banchero. I'll take the raw points. I'll figure out what else to do. I mean, we're looking at the power forward position, and you've got Jimmy Butler, 8K, small forward utility, at least helpful there. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's cheaper down there, but I mean, these minutes for Edie are just kind of a problem for his other counting stats. I mean, 19.5 being his points, and then rebounds, assists. I don't know what to make of Edie on this slate either. We'll talk through that one coming up a little bit later. And just kind of going through that position, it's just like, well, he's projected for far more than everybody else. Power forward only. I feel like just clicking on him and figuring out the rest.
75% of my stuff right now. I think he's just so easy to get to. I love the matchup. They don't really have anybody to deal with him very easily. Like I said on the strategy show, Jalen Johnson's not walking through that door. Like they're missing the guy that slows him down. I think this could be a big one for Paolo. I'm happy to have a ton. He's the most expensive guy on the slate, and he, to me, well deserves that price tag. Number one guy in our boom bust tool, 51% optimal, 34% chance to score 58 fantasy points, and you certainly don't even need that much on a day like today. If he gets to his projection, you're going to be pretty happy, I would imagine. Yep. Depending on how crazy everybody else goes. Well, I've got Orlando pulled up on the screen now. We might as well just transition right into the Magic and hit that like button, by the way. Much better side of this game. Orlando doesn't have to face themselves. Atlanta's defense, nothing crazy, just like a completely average team. This is the team that I have the most of. A lot of that is on the back of Paolo, although neutral to a 40% owned Franz Wagner. Miles over the field on Wendell Carter Jr. right now. I've got 59%. I've got 35% of KCP. I've got 40 of Corey Joseph, which I definitely want to have a conversation about. I don't have anything from the bench, which I'm also cool with. What else do you like besides Paolo?
Yeah, considering, we had minutes for Anthony Black. They got ramped up to 31, 37 in two meaningless spots there at the tail end of the season. I got to think Corey Joseph's in line for a pretty good workload here. I mean, he only played 6 minutes against Indy there. It's just 3,200 starting point guard who played himself into a more significant amount of minutes. And, we have projected right in that 17 fantasy point realm. I think he's the guy that I'm the most comfortable at, as far as like value. And that's the main reason that also it's harder for me with him, with Mo Gay. It's harder for me to land on too much of the George Niang piece. And obviously I think that he can go out and just go scorched earth on it. Memphis, we have tons of guys to rotate through on who could be it. GG Jackson, maybe Vince Williams Jr. I mean, I don't know what to make of what they're going to do outside of like their core pieces that could just see, God forbid, I mean, like 42, 44 minutes, and then you're going to be just crushed there. But I like the Corey Joseph piece a lot. Wendell Carter freaks me out, but I'm kind of with you to some extent. I'm right now a little bit below the field at 30%, but I could very well see myself getting to a little bit more here as we talk through this slate. I was kind of planning on doing that anyway. And then the Golden State Q tag with Moses Moody that just kind of looms on this slate where Gary Payton, 3,300. I might want to be getting myself onto more of that. Buddy Hield's at least priced in a 3,800 spot. You're basically getting Buddy Hield on the floor no matter what. So I'm not kind of freaking out too much in that department. Like he's had a secure enough, like 18, 20 minutes. I mean, it was higher than that, 16 against the Clippers in that overtime game last time out was a little bit low on that side of the things, but different matchup with Memphis. I think that plays more into Buddy Hield than the Clippers side did. And then let's finish out the Magic for it. Sure. I don't know what to do with Franz Wagner. I really don't. He's probably the biggest one that, because currently I have 10% of him. I'm just not getting to him whatsoever. We have Corey Joseph. We have 3 point guards that we're spending up for in Paolo Banchero. And he's got the small forward eligibility, but I just get to Jimmy Butler at 8K a lot more than I get to Franz Wagner. I'm playing so much of Jimmy Butler there that for 500 more, Franz Wagner obviously gets the Atlanta pace up, but like Jimmy Butler gets Memphis on the other side of this one. Jimmy Butler got acquired to go out and do stuff like this come playoff time to go scorched earth. And I think for 500 less, I'm just kind of more inclined to go that direction, have a little bit more swappability. But man, does it freak me out to have 10% Franz Wagner.
I have essentially the exact same amount of both. I have 45 of Jimmy. I've got 43 of Franz. I'm pretty happy about that too. I'm imagining you would probably prefer that.
Yeah, I would. But like, I don't want to have like 5 Orlando Magic in every lineup. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like Corey Joseph, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. I'm kind of shuffling through a number of other guys that are kind of the other piece. I don't love Anthony Black. Don't love any like the pivots there. KCP 3,800. I think, God, he could just get ramped up in a weird way too. 34, 36 minutes. I mean, there's such a place for that to go from 32, 33. I mean, it's so weird that he's on Orlando sometimes. It just kind of like always catches me by surprise because so many teams would love to have KCP at the moment, but I think he's kind of like an interesting guy to be overweight to on this slate as well. And Franz Wagner, again, I just prefer the 500 less Jimmy Butler, extra swappability. I have 70% of him, which sucks.
I have 3 lineups with 4 guys from the Magic, 6 with 3, and then 32 with 2. So nothing too crazy.
Yeah, mine's just all out of sorts. So that's cool.
Sorry, that I didn't give you even remotely close to the correct numbers. Make that 19-4. So that's 13% of my lineups. 62-3, which is 41%. So about half of my lineups have at least 3 guys from the Magic.
There you go. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. It's like just so Magic heavy. And it's like my one stand that I'm basically making against that team at the moment is Franz Wagner. And he's the guy who's projected for what? Like 1 fantasy point less than Steph. 1 or 1.5 fantasy points less than Steph. He's in the same game environment as Trey. Projected better than Ja, but you said you were undercutting Steph and Ja. I'm trying to hold tight with the field with it. Like I'm basically spread out amongst those 3 point guards, just jamming Paolo Banchero, and I guess Jimmy Butler's just my main exposure there. I mean, the field is on Jimmy Butler more as well, but I mean, I'm just jamming him, it would appear. So I will try to balance that out as we go, but is what it is.
I am expecting to get more of Memphis and Golden State when I run before we get to lock. When I ran this, I didn't do anything to any projections. When I'll run the final one, the Memphis and Golden State guys will get boosted a little bit for late swap. So like they'll just like incrementally go up a little. Okay. Can we talk through Corey Joseph? Like I know you touched on it a little bit. I hate him. I don't want to play him. He's 3,200. He sucks.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need him. Do they want to play him a lot? I don't know. I definitely don't want to have 2x the field of Corey Joseph. I feel like I'm definitely doing DFS wrong today. But I mean,
here's the way I look at it.
That he gets me Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, he gets you Paolo Banchero, but I think the tea leaves are basically like Corey Joseph didn't play on the 13th with the other core guys. He played one stint going to start off against Indy. And like, they don't need to roll him out there, but it would appear that he's kind of like the main go-to guy now at the point guard position. They don't need Cole Anthony to go out there and do anything beyond like he's the guy that I'm freaked out on. Like if Cole Anthony were to somehow play himself into 24, 26 minutes, there's actual upside at like no ownership for Cole Anthony. Like we're talking 0 ownership on Cole Anthony. And like, who plays over Corey Joseph there? You'd think it would just be Anthony Black. Do they go to ball handling Franz Wagner, point guard, and bring Jonathan Isaac out there into some closing type lineups? Like, I think that's a little bit thin too. Isaac can play a little bit more, but he just kind of fell out of favor towards the end of this last year. I don't see Caleb Houston or Gary Harris closing. It's basically Corey Joseph, Anthony Black, Cole Anthony. And I think Cole Anthony has the most upside in terms of like 4,600. He could put up 35 and just bury you. But like, I think the upside is just a $3,200 price tag relative to 4,600 and 4,800 for the two guys that would actually pull any minutes away from him. But like, God, I don't know what to make of it because I think Corey Joseph just plays more than both.
I don't think it would be completely crazy for Caleb Houston to close, and you bring him in just for shooting and spacing, and you're not all that worried about it. Like, you hope that, like, you don't think that Atlanta's going to be able to pick on them that way. I think they're live to not play Goga at all. I think Cole Anthony could play anywhere from 12 minutes to 26 minutes, and none of those things would surprise me at all. John Isaac could just be the straight backup center to Wendell Carter Jr., but that could be 10 minutes if Wendell Carter Jr. plays 38. So I think he's highly variant. Orlando's weird. They're tricky. Like, the pieces that I like a lot, your Wendell Carter Jr.'s, your Palos, your Franz's, the guys that are going to play those minutes pretty much no matter what, feel great there. It's the Corey Josephs, the KCPs, and the bench guys where I'm like, man, something weird's going to happen here, and I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but I mean, I would be a little surprised to see Caleb Houston just kind of ramped in there. I mean, he 36.4% from three, I suppose, on like, I guess, was it on the season? Yeah, 40.3% 3-point shooter this season. That's pretty darn good. They're the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. We kind of know that coming into it, but KCP, Caleb Houston, I don't know. The Caleb Houston one just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to pull the trigger at 3,800 on him. He's playing 13 minutes, but like, you think he would be the guy who would close over Corey Joseph?
I think it just sort of depends on what they need. Like, I think the fifth closer for Orlando is very game script dependent.
Okay. I think
if they're winning, I think it's a different guy than if they're losing. And I think they can go a couple different directions. Like, Cole Anthony could very well be in a closing lineup if they're down 7.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. And that's where, like, I think Cole Anthony becomes the guy that I'd be remiss if I didn't have a little bit, because he's the only one out of those three that I could remotely see getting 20 points, like scoring 20 actual points. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no planet where Corey Joseph's doing it. Anthony Black, I would be absolutely shocked if he did it. And then Caleb Houston, it's floor spacing, but like maybe 2-3 of them. Like, I don't know. It's definitely a spot for me where Corey Joseph is uncomfortable, but the price tag makes you feel better about it.
Halfway through, Orlando and Atlanta, East in the books. We got to get to Memphis and Golden State yet. Got half this show to go. Guys, don't forget, OddsShopper and the Portfolio EV tool. It exists for you. If you watched the strategy show, you could have watched me spin the wheel during the show, have a giveaway for you guys. Shout out to Ja Morant, the grenade celebration.
Oh my God.
That was the gig for today. You guys could have taken advantage. That's not for you guys. You got to be watching the strategy show each morning. But if you guys just want to sign up for the Portfolio EV tool, it's very easy to do. Takes me a little bit longer to share it on the screen right now for you guys to see it than it does to use it and place a bet. That's how dope it is. Sportsbooks, pick'em sites, totally depends where you live, but it'll cover you on both. We give you OddsShopper rating and expected value. Lets you calculate exactly how much you should be betting on something like that. We're hitting all the prop markets across all the sports books and pick'em sites that are available. If some of those sports books aren't available to you, they don't have to be a part of your portfolio. You can build a portfolio based on your sports books and based on all of our historical data so that you can carve out exactly what you're looking for. We have everything for 2 years at this point. Tons of backtested data for you. Odds boost calculators, parlay builders, mass bet feature. So let's say there's 5 bets available on DraftKings. You click that mass entry button, it'll just load all 5 of them straight to your bet card. Makes it very simple. And mobile notifications. If something hits one of your portfolios, you're going to pop up on your phone. Click that pop up, immediately go place it. 7-day free trial in the description of this video. It'll pop up in chat as well. If you've never signed up before, you can get a 7-day free trial, or you can sign up through one of the partners, through one of the sports books or pick'em sites. That link is in the description. You do that, free month. You'll pay us nothing. Take advantage, guys. It's fun stuff. Now I got to take my time here and reshare my screen again. Forget to click on stuff. It never fails, man. It never fails.
Okay. Oh, been there. Been doing like 2-hour streams every night for the last couple days, and there's some fuckery that goes on from time to time where I'm like, all right, where is the, oh, found it again. But you know what? I think your organization is 50,000 times better on the screen share. And look at this beautiful graphic for the people. Hit the like button. This isn't something that Josh is like getting paid extra for. I mean, this is truly out of the love of like the love of the game. Actually, this is love of the game.
I'm just a nerd. I'm a nerd that can't have data in front of him not formatted properly. That's really what it is. Like, this isn't hard. Like, there's nothing complex going on here. But if that was just a regular, like, plain Excel data, it would drive me insane. Like, if I see somebody else's spreadsheet and they don't have a column format, like even just like center aligned instead of left aligned, like I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah,
that's probably not good. I should probably talk to somebody about this.
You should. I mean, for other reasons, but obviously, this is definitely one of those things where for me, as long as it's like spatially aligned, I don't care, and as long as somebody understands a sum formula and can actually like do stuff to some basic comprehension, I don't mind looking at it. But like yours is 50,000 times better looking than mine. I just I get the job done.
Did you see my promo graphic by any chance?
No, I did not.
Pay attention to StreamYard. This was promo code grenade for John Morant. Pretty good, right?
So good.
It's not bad. I couldn't, for the life of me, get that stupid thing to generate with the thumb up to make it a finger gun. Oh. I tried for an hour.
You're asking AI for something that it was basically told not to do.
Every time it just like, I felt like it made the index finger longer. It just wouldn't make the thumb go up in the air.
I appreciate the effort, though. I really, really do. I think the people do too.
We got a couple super chats I want to hit on right now. So, bloop, let's grab the first one from Prep Drone. He said, any chance VitK gets any meaningful minutes? Meaningful? Yes, absolutely. We've got him projected for 17 right now. If he's playing well, I think upwards of like 22 or 23 is certainly on the table. Like, I think whoever's cooking for Atlanta's extra guys can play their way into a couple extra minutes. What do you think?
Yes, they absolutely can. I think he's got a much clearer path than trying to figure out what kind of effery is going on here as far as Corey Joseph and some of those guys like Vit Krejci, George Niang, Terrence Mann, Karis LeVert. Like, they're all going to play anyway. The main issue that I have with the other thing is it's like they're more expensive. So like Anthony Black, all those guys are more expensive than these Atlanta pieces. And I have no idea what to do with their minutes. I'm quite confident that all four of those guys for Atlanta are still going to play in this game, 9-man rotation. And yeah, there's ways that it works out for you at 4K, shooting guard, small forward. So yeah, Vit Krejci definitely has a chance at meaningful minutes. 20, 22 is on the table.
Avi asked, is Butler going to stay on Bane all game? No, but he will guard him. That's for sure.
Yep. I was going to say stay on all game. I mean, there's going to be a lot of switching, a lot of Steph Curry not going underneath ball screens. God forbid you go underneath ball screens against Steph Curry. So this is what I'm excited about. There's so many bad teams in the NBA who just do that all game long, and it drives me nuts. It's going to be fun to watch actual defensive teams with actual functioning basketball players. Now, maybe Memphis isn't one of them here, but for the most part, we can expect Steph Curry to not exactly get free reign here. Although, I mean, they lost to San Antonio, so up is down, left is right anyway.
Brijal asked, thoughts on the new FanDuel single NBA style? So I haven't looked into it. I did see it come across my timeline whatever day they announced it and looked at it a couple times. As best I can tell, it's great and just going to lower some dupes on FanDuel, which is a welcome change for that product. To
Yeah,
me, no negatives.
it depends, because I think one thing that we saw were these insane trains, especially in the NFL. Like, I think that's what I'm most curious to see is like what happens with the NFL product if they roll out the same thing. I've really enjoyed playing Showdown over there because it just feels as though you know exactly what the train is that you're avoiding. And there are tons, especially as you get into like small field, like you get underneath 1,000, you're playing like the $5, the $10 of those iterations. You're basically like, I'm fading the one account, the one lineup, and you kind of know exactly where you stand and you can kind of really set your lineups up for success. Going to be harder now because it should be more spread out. I think it'll be more fun for all sports, but NFL specifically, I might have an issue with it.
Alrighty. I don't ever play it, so I'm very not concerned.
There
And
you go.
then final super chat from Avi. Do you think Pippen or Kennard will get more minutes? You are in luck. It's time to talk about Memphis and Golden State. Grizzlies 7-point dogs in Golden State, 227 total. Boy, oh boy, are the Grizzlies dudes the same in our data. They have, at least on DraftKings, 5 guys from the number 11 rank to the number 20 rank. That would be 11th, 13th, 18, 19, and 20. On the FanDuel side, same scenario. They would have 6, but Ja snuck into the top 10 at number 9. So they're very balanced in our optimal rates. Here are the optimal rates for these guys: 28, 25, 24, 29, 24, 30. So I don't have a ton of these guys. I'm very light on Desmond Bane. I'm very light on Santi Aldama. I'm light on Zach Edey, thank God. I'm under on Morant. The only guy that I'm actually over the field on is Vince Williams right now. I'm just going to ask you in general, how do you feel about Memphis in this spot? Because we don't have Jalen Wells, who KJ Simpson put down about a week ago. And we still don't have Brandon Clark back yet for this Memphis team. So they're out 2 rotation pieces, including their starting small forward. What do you like here for the Grizz?
First guy right off the bat, I think both sites, Vince Williams Jr. has a ton of utility. I think if you look over at FanDuel as well, he was somebody that was popping as I was building lineups up. 3,900 small forward over there. That is useful. DK 3,500 shooting guard, small forward. He's the guy that I do like the most as far as like individuals there. I'm not as underneath on the jaw side as what you are there. I'm more aligned basically with all 3 of those guards. I'm trying to figure out if I need to make any kind of a stand, maybe get a little bit more Trey in my last run here as we finish things out. And then Zach Edey, I also like a little bit more than you, it would appear. New coaching staff. And I mean, Zach Edey, it's generally been like, oh, there are going to be matchups that he just smashes, matchups that he just doesn't. But like, this is just such an interesting deal as far as Santi Aldama and Zach Edey. And it seems as though Zach Edey's just going to play more now, like in any game script. Like, that's what I'm finding hard to get away from, because he's always been a fantasy point per minute guy. Not that Santi Aldama's terrible at 0.9 fantasy points per minute, but like, I think Zach Edey's just in the third of my lineups, and there's no maneuvering it. I don't find center to be like all that difficult to get overweight, or if you want to just hold hands there. I'm playing a lot of Okongwu. You're playing a lot of Wendell Carter Jr., but like Zach Edey, just having that lineup spot too, to be able to react to whatever happens with Moses Moody, be able to move things around accordingly. I like him a little bit more than you, but Desmond Bane, hard to get to. Jaren Jackson Jr., hard to get to. 27.5 is PRA right now. I'm just shocked that I'm not getting to a 7,300 Jaren Jackson Jr., but Draymond Green confirmed, a real thing. And yeah, this should be John Morant, Steph Curry, especial. That's at least what my lineups are hoping. I'm a little bit overweight. Let's see, where did it go? Yeah,
I got quite a bit of Golden State.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm nervous about Edey here. I think his minutes downside is massive. I really don't like this spot for him. I don't know how they're going to handle Steph. I don't think that Edey can get out on him. I think this game feels very natural for me for Edey to play the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. moves to the 5 when Draymond Green is at the 5.
Yeah.
Santi Aldama becomes your 4, or Scottie Pippen, steps in depending on who they're trying to slow down if they want Pippen to chase around Curry. I think this is a game where Zach Edey could get played off the floor by Steph. Or Golden State's going small. They're still not playing Jonathan Kuminga, and Zach Edey is getting every single rebound and every single putback because he just
then the nuke of the night
Draymond and swings him around.
Yeah. And then the nuke of the night.
I can see that happening, but can he be good enough on the boards to offset the trouble I think he's going to have on defense? I don't know.
I can't reiterate enough that I solo watched Curry score 52 points and shoot 23s and still put him 32 minutes like a regular season game, but it mattered. Yeah. Look, I just talked about it. They were going underneath. You can't go underneath ball screens with Steph Curry. And Steph Curry is going to run around in circles. There's not really anybody out there with Jalen Wells out. Desmond Bane is going to be on his high horse. He's going to get the lovely opportunity to try to make that work, him and Ja. And it's just going to be a defense by committee. It's not going to be something that you can necessarily. And as you said, Zach Edey, that is a really good point where, he's the guy who could get played off the floor, or Golden State has to do something about it, which I think probably makes it interesting, especially if you get Moses Moody out, where it opens up the opportunity for Kevon Looney to potentially walk into more minutes.
It's a path, man. It's a path.
And it's always postseason time where Kevon Looney starts showing up for the first time. He never does anything. And then all of a sudden we get Kevon Looney 2020 watch, like Barbara Walters. Why are we doing this every year?
It does feel like it happens pretty regularly. Let me throw this up on the FanDuel side here for Memphis, just so people could see the ownership as well. 30% to Ja, 30 to Bane, 30 to Triple J, 35 to Pippen. He's a little bit more owned on the FanDuel end. And then mid-20s to Vince Williams and Zach Edey and Santi Aldama. It's just super duper duper balanced in terms of ownership for these Memphis guys. And that says nothing for it's not out of the realm of possibility that Luke Kennard gets hot and he's an okay value at no ownership and really keeps you away from duplication on a day like today. I don't love the dude or anything, but wouldn't be shocked at all if he shot the shit out of the ball.
He's the Cole Anthony of Memphis.
Yeah, there you go.
Down 7, Luke Kennard, defense be damned. We're going to be fouling whomever we can, not named Steph Curry anyway. So Luke Kennard's out on the floor and chucking. He's been one of the best 3-point shooters the last couple of years. It's just you can't play him some excessive minutes because there are defensive issues there.
I'm pulling up Golden State quickly. I know that we should be talking about nukes and whites, whatever else we could do here, but we got to touch on one thing for Golden State before we go any further. Well, I guess 2 things. One, Moses Moody's questionable for this one, so that is actually going to matter because of 2. Do you think they're going to play Jonathan Kuminga today? Because I'm going to assume he was not so happy on Sunday.
No, this is definitely the spot where you kind of want to make some educated stands. You're making the same stand I am. I'm jamming Gary Payton, just jamming him. I think there are a lot of ways that I can spread it out. I have enough Memphis. I have a little bit more Memphis than you do, where I can at least spread things out if need be and Moses Moody plays, because then I think Moses Moody becomes an interesting target. Currently 20% ownership, or just a little bit less, I think, in our last run. No, it was still at 20%. And I think shooting guard, small forward, I'm just happy to play him there. Vince Williams, I've got enough of him as well where I can kind of move and finagle my way into or out of Moses Moody. But Gary Payton, man, he's already, I think, going to be playing a more a sizable role than 3,300 would indicate. And I think he ends up being your de facto starter more than likely. I think even if you get Moses Moody, if you get him out, I don't think Kevon Looney starts by any means. I think that would be an unlikely scenario. But Gary Payton, I think, becomes your automatic, oh boy, he's starting, good fantasy producer, doesn't need the ball in his hand to be productive. You look at some of his props, 13.5 PRA, and I'm bringing this up a lot purely because I think the market starts to balance itself out in a way where we can use that information and if there's something that's wrong in terms of the pricing, or like, because we're playing a salary and ownership game. Like, I think Gary Payton is just way underrepresented just at a quarter of the lineups. I've got him in half of my lineups right now, and I would want more if we got Moody out. It's just that, I don't want to be like 100% all in on him and then necessarily walk into 15, 16 minutes and just be left holding the bag. But he is by far the guy that I think benefits the most if you get Moody off the floor.
Yeah, it's good, dude. If he ends up not playing, it just gets wild because then you don't know what are they doing with Quentin Post? What are they doing with Kevon Looney? Do they dust off Jonathan Kuminga? Does Guy Santos jump in front of Jonathan Kuminga?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to think because I can't say that I never expected Steve Kerr to bury Kuminga, but it wasn't a likely scenario for me on Sunday. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. What was fascinating is like just the DNP. Like, I think it was kind of the statement. They put all of their chips onto Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler, is it another year of team control as well for Jonathan Kuminga? Because there's an opportunity.
He's a restricted free agent.
Oh, okay. So what the hell?
Yeah, it's going to get real dicey. Because they're not going to let him go for nothing.
Right. He is valuable. He is definitely decent, but there are really no places to play him alongside Butler and Green right now, or that's the way Steve Kerr apparently feels about it. So
yeah,
I just kind of look at him as irrelevant on this slate. I would be more inclined to think that Buddy Hield becomes the next guy that you want to be getting to after the Gary Payton piece. One thing I do, I already did it, so I can just say, I think you can correlate the props there, where you just play the Payton Hield, especially in like pick'em formats where it's just like fixed payouts and you know what you're getting for it. Just Payton Hield together, and then on Underdog, I thought John Morant was a little bit low at 42.5 fantasy score. I don't know if it's still there right now, but those three together, I think, make a nice little tiny game stack, hoping the Moses Moody, maybe he does play. He could still be limited to some capacity. And I think Gary Payton for defensive purposes, Buddy Hield for offensive purposes, I think they both see, goes up from like 18 to like 22 minutes. I bet it's still cut pretty similar between the two of them. I mean, you have it right down the middle there, and I think that that's appropriate. But I really like the idea of like correlated props like that, where obviously it's very apparent that you could do that on any situation with a lingering Q tag, but both of those numbers are really low and could really change before tip off of that game if Moody's out.
I'm running my sims right now. I'm really hoping that the things that we've been looking at over the past 45 minutes change. I don't like what I had.
Nothing like being a liar and all of a sudden I'm just, I got half my lineups with Franz Wagner. That would be great.
That's how it happens, man. That's how it happens. Let's hypothesize here. If Moses Moody doesn't play, who do we think is the fifth starter?
Gary Payton. I would be shocked if it wasn't Gary Payton.
They're small if they do that.
You think it would be Post or Looney? Because I like Looney a lot for tournaments. I think
it might be Post.
I think Post would be more likely starting, but I like Looney a lot for tournaments at 3,200. If I'm going to be playing some Edie on the other side, I currently have 22% of my last run. I just started another sim, so I've just got my one spreadsheet that I'm looking at here. 22% was the last run of Kevon Looney. I gave him a little bit of a boost after the fact, but the fact remains that I think that he's probably going to be somebody that they want to have on Edie at some point in that game. I don't think he ends up getting flatlined the way that I think Quentin Post could get flatlined if you have Moody in. So I don't know. There's some push and pull there, but I think your most likely starter is still going to be Gary Payton.
One thing I want to point out here, if you want to play a game about Looney and Post, you might be better off trying to play it on the Post side just because Looney's $300 cheaper. Although you should have enough ownership in this game that it doesn't matter in those swap situations and that like you'll be able to find that 300. But if you do want to take that stand, it might be better to pre-plan as Post, make your swap easier to Looney if that's a direction you want to go. Do you care that much? Do you think you're just going to be able to swap just because of exposure purposes?
I have more Memphis than you. I think that
Okay.
that helps out a lot. If you're
Sure.
limited on the Memphis side and you're basically just playing the Golden State side, that'd be one thing. We talked about Orlando. I think that they're very hard to get away from. Trae Young, Okongwu, two guys that I definitely want to have large chunks of on the Atlanta side in that first game. But I'm overweight to Vince Williams with multi-positional eligibility. I'm overweight heavily to Gary Payton right now, half my lineups. I'm overweight to Kevon Looney. I'm overweight to one person we haven't talked about, Brandon Podziemski. Is he just like a be at the field 50% type guy or 45% guy and just moving on with your day? Because like 34 minutes could become 36, but like the main thing is he doesn't benefit as much as you would a Gary Payton or a Buddy Hield in the event that Moses Moody sits. Like Podziemski feels pretty locked into around the same rates, around the same opportunities, no matter what. Yeah. It's just a little less, like Gary Payton out there is less usage than a Moses Moody would be. That's about it. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry are the guys you're going to be playing through on the offensive end. Spoiler alert to everybody, but I don't know. It just feels like Brandon Podziemski is just so unavoidable on this slate, and I think I probably So 45%, like right in that ballpark. Like I don't really know if there's anything to say about him, and then. Jimmy Butler already brought it up. He's in well north of 70% of my lineups.
I am pasting my stuff in right now, and I'm going to know pretty quickly what I've got. Because the good news is we should not be expecting to see anything happen in the next 12 minutes. I don't want to say that it definitely won't, because the moment I do that, I know that I'm going to be wrong. But like we're kind of just here. And this is just going to kind of be my exposures, I think.
Draymond Green, you have a very large amount of. I just want to point that out, too. I just noticed that.
I do?
65% is a number.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, well, that's going to change in a second. Yeah. I did just cut my ownership back a little bit. So I'm about to paste in my 150, and then I could talk through it. 47, 48, 49, 50. Got it. I think I'm going to be pretty weird here.
You always are.
All right, here we go. Exposures are updated. What are the main talking points for me? I guess Draymond, I could leave it on this screen right now. 75% of my lineups for Draymond. He is my most exposed player right now. I got crazy Draymond. I got to hope that he doesn't get tossed today. Great.
Yeah, good luck to that. He should be okay. He seems to get away with a lot when it's like 1 game scenarios or like game 7 scenarios. It's when it's game 6 you got to be worried about Draymond Green up 3-3 or sorry, up 3-2 and looking to close it out, or I guess 3-1 it would have been before he got suspended for the game 6. And then, congratulations, Cleveland. You're probably still thinking about that one.
Michael Wallace super chat. Young or Ja, Healed or Kennard? Last 2 in. Kennard. Wow. How did 2 of you spell Kennard wrong in super chats within 8 minutes of each other? That's incredible.
Is that a rhetorical question?
That's a good point. Well, I would expect them to spell it wrong in different ways, not the same way. Anyway, I have more Ja than Trae Young now.
Okay, good. That's what I like to hear to some extent. Trae Young, I'm going to be holding hands with the field. It just is what it is. 34% Ja. I have 35%. So go me.
I essentially don't have Buddy Hield or Luke Kennard. I would say go back to the drawing board or take like Vince Williams or KCP or something.
Now, this is interesting. So I just trimmed my top 150 down to top 40, and there are some weird guys at the back half of this. Do you have any Terrence Mann?
No. 1.3%.
Okay. I did something wrong. I must fix that.
Well, while you work on that, get your stuff together, because we got to let everybody know right now who is tonight's Nuke of the Night. Nuking on heaven's door. Eric, who is today's nuke of the night?
Oh, that was beautiful, actually. Tonight's nuke of the night is very straightforward to me. It's in the first game from Atlanta. We talked about all the swappy. I don't know how the stuff is going to play out there. Talked about my love for Looney. Talked about ED about at the field. But otherwise, center's kind of open to us. There are ways that we can kind of have some interesting stands. But when Clint Capella went away, the guy that I've just routinely been over the field on just about every slate, routinely has made me money in the prop market, routinely is underprojected everywhere. And he put up 44 PRA against Atlanta or against Orlando last time out. It is Onyeka Okongwu. There is 42 minute upside here for him at 7,500. And just a couple of really relatively benign games here recently. Guess what? The last two games really haven't mattered for either team. And I don't really care anymore now that they're locked into this specific game, this specific spot. While Dominic Barlow was a guy that they were playing a little bit here for, I love the opportunity to just play the guy that could play nonstop minutes at center. They might go small here in some spots. I think Mo Gay probably plays backup for 6-8 minutes. That's kind of what the data is telling me here as well at Stokastic. But my nuke of the night, Onyeka Okongwu.
I like it. I think he's in a good spot. I am right now. We have him projected for 22.7% ownership. I have 22.7% of Onyeka Okongwu on the nose.
I have 49% in my top 150, and it's going to be more than that in my top 40.
So for me, I've been touting this guy a lot over the past month, and he just never fell into the minutes the way that I needed him to. But now that Jalen Wells' face exploded and he isn't going to be here, I think they're going to have to lean on Vince Williams more. I think he's live for more than 22 minutes. He got 24 last time out in the garbage game, but at least we know that he can get to 24. Is he out there for defense? Can he knock down early threes? This dude hits a corner three to start the day off, and he might be playing 28 minutes. The bucket's got to go. If he's over 4 early, then they're probably going to try and crack the code somewhere else. I think it's going to go well because I think he's good. I just think he's been hurt, and it took him a long time to knock the rust off, but I think they need him in this spot defensively and potentially from some, I hope, good shooting. Shooting guard, small forward, 3,500. Vince Williams, nuke of the night. Worked for Jamal Cain.
Oh, man.
Worked for Jamal Cain.
Yeah, well, Jamal Cain is not a real basketball player. At least Vince Williams is. So hopefully we can carry that over. Not
to mention, I used to drive through Richmond constantly 2 or 3 years ago. He went to VCU. They had a billboard up on the side of 95. I saw it all the time. I always thumbs up him. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. Yep. By the way, we're going to be live on playback after this.
Oh, that's right. You guys need to kick it. You got 6 minutes here until we get to lock, and then Josh is going to be doing hour of playback after the fact. I'm going to be watching it while I'm working on my stuff for tomorrow. That's usually my routine, so I'm going to be tuning into it. You need to be too, and maybe we do over the course of that hour get the news that rolls in about one Moses Moody. Not sure that that'll drop then, but it'll for sure be a fun watch to kind of see who the first guys off the bench are for Atlanta, the first guys off the bench for Orlando. I think that that's really the sweat come playoff time that's underrated. Is oh shit, is this guy that I played 40% of off the bench going to be checking in now? Or am I going to be sitting here with 0 going into the second quarter? I love those kind of sweats. They're actually more fun for me than seeing if this 3K guy who shouldn't be an NBA player can smash for the 76ers. So it's good to have real meaningful basketball back.
It really is. I'm so happy to watch it. I'm going to be breaking down the game. We're going to watch for an hour. Obviously, we only got one shot here. I think it's only going to be for League Pass people and VIPs. So you're just going to be listening to me. When there's any stoppages, I'm going to stop. We're going to pull up OddsShopper. Maybe we'll pull up some random stuff too, just to keep everybody entertained. Maybe we'll listen to some music when there's any stoppages or something. I'll keep it PG, folks. But I think we could do kind of whatever we want tonight when they go to a commercial break, we don't have any other basketball. So we're scoping out OddsShopper. We're looking for bets. We're talking deals. We're going to find something. We're going to find something to do. Do we want to get a white of the night in quick before we leave?
Oh, fine. Yeah, I saw Loco wanted it. Let's do it.
Got to do it. It is now the time that everybody has been waiting for. We need to find out who will be tonight's White of the Night. Before we do it, Darren Unger, Pippen or Levert, last guy in on FanDuel.
Pippen or Levert? That is going to be Levert for me.
That is going to be... We have their optimal rates within 1% of each other. I'm going to say Levert. And then James Teal,
yeah, you had that.
Gay or Joseph, last man in. I'm going to assume DraftKings in this scenario.
Yeah, I am too, because they're pretty close or closer and not as much positionality weirdness with only 8 players. I like Joseph more.
I think I have more Joseph, but I would prefer Mo Gay. Yeah, I have 5% more of Joseph, so it's basically very similar. Who's your White of the Night?
I mean, we have very limited options now. It's amazing how the turntables come postseason time. I mean, can I possibly roll out Luke Kennard as this? No, I don't think that that's well within my abilities. Is he like the only guy that is like contrarian? Because I'll just take the chalk then. Brandon Pajemski, your White of the Night. Not even close.
There you go. All right, so you're going Brandon Pajemski, White of the Night. There aren't many options left after that. So I have to go with the one that I have the most of, I guess, but that's a pretty big fade. So is my second one. I'm not a big fan of us today in the play-in. I'm way under on Franz. I'm way under on Risache. Kidding. Doesn't matter. It's so easy to think it.
Wait, what?
I guess I got to go Franz.
What do you mean? Risache? Why? What is it now?
I got to go Franz. I'm going Franz.
Okay.
I have 29%. We haven't projected for 41% ownership. But
how much did I end up with? I ended up with, I'll just look at my view exposure on DK now, because now it's in there. I ended up with 17% at the end, so I'm well underweight.
I don't like it, but I don't have any other options.
Yep.
But lock is in 15 seconds.
I stole the main one. That was for sure.
Eric, tell the people what you got coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow and tonight. I've got Lindy's Locks Live tonight going up at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. Probably be watching a little basketball in the corner while doing baseball research, while talking about the NBA games for tomorrow. We get some 9-10 elimination spots, which I'm very excited about to be breaking down for all of you. So come kick it over in the OddsShopper YouTube channel. We'll do it live.
There we go, everybody. Live before locking the books. Play-in is here. We've got real basketball, and we're going to Playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. We don't have Greg, but we do have me, and I'm not going anywhere for an hour, so come join me. I'll talk to you guys later.